The Detroit Lions racked up 52 points in their Week 2 win over the Bears, 511 yards of total offense, the most efficient offensive performance of the season, averaging 8.8 yards per play. In this video, we'll take a look at 3 of the run types they used to generate explosives and be efficient. I'm Andrew Weidinger. I was a member of coaching staffs in the NFL for 11 seasons. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. Those things are important. All right, let's get into the tape. First play we're going to take a look at is Crunch. Crunch is a version of an influence trap or influence Wham type play, best against an overfront. You can see right here, they give Jahmyr Gibbs a running lane, so explosive, 42 yards down the field before they can finally get him pushed out of bounds. Okay, so best against an overfront. Overfront, a fancy way of saying that they've got their defensive tackle or 3 technique aligned to the same side as the tight end. Influence play. They're going to try to influence these guys by pulling away from the direction they're going. So they've got both guards pulling. I'm going to do a very quick hypothetical right here just so you can see how this can influence these backers to move. So if they ran a play like this, to get this thing stopped, they need a defensive end outside of the tackle. They're going to need a linebacker to fit between the tackle and the puller. They're going to need another linebacker to fit between that puller and this guard. And they've got this gap covered by that nose. So you can see now when they take these guys and start pulling them, the hope is it gets these guys to react. And since they're going to react opposite the way they're going, this tackle is going to sneak through, take a great angle to cut this guy off. The hope is he takes about 2-3 steps, says, oh, that's not what they're actually running, redirects, and you've got the wall built. They're going to do the exact same thing with the center. He's going to sneak through, establish a wall, and when this guy finally figures it out, it's too late. They've got him trapped. Now here on the front side, they're going to kick out this 9 technique, just any defensive end aligned outside of the tight end. And the tight end is going to come in and he is going to wham or crunch the 3 technique. And you'll see how that builds a hole for Gibbs to run in between that down block of the tight end and the kick out block of that tackle. So let's start here. We're going to start by looking at the guards and the effect they have on these 2 backers. Those 2 guys pull, and you can see 49 coming downhill. He knows he needs to be in his gap. 44 saying, I got to get over the top because we've got that puller, and the only way I can get it stopped is if I get over there. They read their keys, but the offense is taking advantage of those keys. Now, let's take a look at our 2 guys coming through in the capture technique. Because these guys take the bait so badly, they have no work. The center says, hey, I just like to hit guys, decides there's nobody else to hit, might as well just hit his guy. Great job by the right tackle, expanding this hole, keeping this 9 technique wide. Good job by that tight end coming in and making contact. They create the seam, and the block that I like the most is the receiver coming in on this safety. See if I can pause this at the right moment right there. He's got his helmet right in the V of his neck. That's when you come down and crack somebody from outside in. You don't want to hit them square. If you hit them square, that guy can engage you. He can see where the ball is. He will shed you. He will go make the play. You want to come in on that V of his neck. You can see gets right into the V, buckles his head goes, flies just a little bit back to the side, waters his eyes. The guy loses vision of the ball. That's all it takes. Get on his shoulder and push. The back will see that butt, and he will run off of it. And they've got the corner in man coverage, chasing that receiver inside, which helps turn this thing into the explosive. That's crunch. Next play, we're going to look at strong side mid-zone. Outside zone blocking up front, a little bit tighter course by the back. This one bounces outside. David Montgomery, 18-yard gain right here. So from behind, you'll see they're building this 3-by-1 set, tight end wing to the right. They've got a check built in. I don't really have any idea what the check is, but strong side, outside zone blocking up front. The tight end's going to be responsible for this overhang, this safety you can kind of barely see on the screen right here. And a general rule of thumb for offensive linemen: first uncovered lineman play side starts the double team. What is an uncovered lineman? Basically, since they're running to the right, who is the first guy who doesn't have a defender over his right shoulder? Right, The right tackle is the first guy who doesn't have somebody over his right shoulder. He's starting the double team with the tight end. They call this a triple block. They're going to work in conjunction between this defensive end and this play side linebacker. If this end pinches inside, tackle will overtake him, tight end will come up, and if the end stays outside, he's now the tight ends, and the tackle will come up to this linebacker's spot. They're going to reach the 3 with the guard. The center is going to come flat through the heels of this down lineman right here to get the middle linebacker picked off. They're going to scoop out this backside A gap, and the tackle is going to take a course to put him where this guy is going to be, not where he is as he is trailing this play as it pushes out the front door. The guy they cannot block is this weak side defensive end. Now, this course of the back, if it was true strong side outside zone, he'd be aiming for 1 yard outside of this tight end. So his feet, his initial angle would be going out to there. On mid zone, you can see his track gets a whole lot tighter. He's aiming for that inside leg of the play side tackle. So you'll see track gets a lot tighter here for Montgomery. As they're going through, though, play doesn't necessarily go as planned. This 3 technique, he gets inside, gets a little bit of penetration that's going to force Montgomery to the front side. Same deal kind of happens here. Right tackle stepping to help, but he feels this backer closing the space to the line of scrimmage, goes to give a helping hand and says, all right, I can't do any more. I got to come off on my guy. Tight end ends up losing his man to the inside, but does a great job of recovering, getting just enough of him to allow Montgomery to get the edge. While we're on the topic, extremely hard for this guy, no matter who it is, to consistently win against a defensive end in the NFL, right? This guy's going into a game plan, has to know about 150 different plays on the game plan and needs to be able to execute all of them. For the most part, there's blitzes and stunts and things like that, but for the most part, these defensive ends have 2 primary goals. They either set the edge or they rush the passer. Very hard. Like, they work the shit out of that stuff in practice. Very hard for tight ends to consistently win. Right here, again, gets pushed to the perimeter. Great job by this F tight end right here, number 87, expanding this hole. This guy's job is to turn this ball back in. He's got all his help running from inside out. He's trying to turn it back in. 87 says, that's fine. You've got the outside. I'm going to get strong with my upfield arm, my left arm, and I'm going to run you into the Gatorade coolers outside. Does a really good job expanding that thing. And then this is kind of a good look here. St. Brown trying to get this corner blocked. And now this isn't a crack block like we talked about in the last one, but if you get square on a guy, he's got vision on the ball carrier. That DB can see it. He can fake one way, go another. Very hard to sustain. Great job by St. Brown being a pest and staying on that guy. One more look here, another rep of this strong side zone run here, this mid zone. You'll see the course of Montgomery again to the right tackle's inside foot. Exact same front, right? We still have that over front. We've got the 1 high defense, safety rotated down to the 3 receiver side. And you'll see his 47 showing up in the hole right here. All this color as he's trying to push and follow that tackle out the front door. All this color is forcing him to cut up. So he has to ultimately cut off this backside guard's ass right here. And the guy who's going to have to make the play is number 98, the defensive end. And they get 5 yards right here. But more importantly, 98 now understands if they're running strong side zone, he needs to be the guy to chase it down, because if it cuts up, it's his play to make. So how do they take advantage of that? And they're going to do it with a play called flip. So you'll see with this shift in motion, they're building the exact same formation that they were in on those other 2 stretch plays or mid-zone plays. Tight end, wing in the 3-by-1. Obviously, both guys off the line of scrimmage, and the tackle is going to step down. They're selling as if it is a zone run, mid-zone to the right. 98 is lined up right here, same spot that he was on the last play, and he knows that if that is mid-zone and it cuts up, he's got to be the guy to make the play. He's got to come screaming off this tackle's if he wants to get that ball on the ground, or else they're going to get gashed. So right here, the back is going to take 1 jab step to the play side, turns into a foot race between the back and the end to the perimeter. Extremely hard to beat Jahmyr Gibbs in a foot race. 98 does track him down, but 26 yards later. So we'll take a look at this one from behind, and they actually get a bare front on this rep. They would prefer that over front nose tackle in this gap and nobody in this gap. The reason being, this tackle is going to come down and capture technique up, to this linebacker spot, safety in the linebacker spot, when he realizes that it's flip. And when he does that, when he steps down, this defensive end, they're anticipating going to squeeze the air out of it, chase that ball flat down the line. Well, there's a lot more space that he needs to chase if there's nobody in that gap, right? The next defender, his next help guy, is 2 body lengths away. But when there's a guy in this gap, now he's 1 body length away, less stress on the defensive end. Offensively, this is still a decent look for the play. The only thing that would really get you out of a play like this would be 2 defenders outside of the tackle, either there and there or there and there. If we were running this back in the day, we might call this something like sell 38 stretch, H flip, alert, run it. And so we were going to sell that stretch blocking up front in our terminology. We were going to flip, which told the backside tackle he was going to be the capture technique player. And alert, run it would be if we got 2 guys outside the tackle, we get to the line of scrimmage and go run it, run it, run it, run it. And everybody knows, hey, we're just actually running 38 stretch. We're not selling it anymore. But with just 1 guy outside the tackle, the play is on. Even though it's not the optimal look, they're still able to take advantage of 98's aggressiveness with Gibbs' speed. All right, that does it for the video. Again, if you liked what you saw, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps. Thanks for watching.